Betrayal trauma doesn't begin at the moment you discover what happened. It begins at the moment your mind understands that the world you believed in no longer exists. When someone you trusted deeply becomes the source of your pain, the experience reaches a level that logic can't touch. It isn't just emotional, it is biological. The brain is built around attachment, and when that attachment collapses, everything feels like it collapses with it. It feels like an earthquake inside the self. The ground disappears. Meaning disappears. The version of you that felt safe disappears. In the first moments of betrayal, the mind tries to hold two realities that cannot exist together. The belief that this person cared about you and the reality that this person hurt you. It creates a silent conflict, like trying to breathe underwater. The mind protects itself by refusing to accept what it sees. This is where shock begins. Not dramatic or loud, but quiet. A freezing of the emotions. A numbness that shields you from the full impact. People describe betrayal as anger, but the first emotion is usually confusion. A deep confusion that makes you replay memories, conversations, and subtle moments, trying to find signs you might have missed. Your mind tries to rewrite the story so it makes sense, so the pain feels logical. This is why many victims blame themselves. Not because they caused what happened, but because the mind would rather believe I did something wrong than face the truth that someone who claimed to love you chose to hurt you. Self-blame becomes a false form of control. If you were the problem, then maybe you can fix it. Maybe you can change. Maybe the relationship can be saved. But the reality is that nothing you could have done would justify the betrayal. In the early stages, betrayal trauma can look like any other trauma. You might experience intrusive thoughts, panic in the chest, sleepless nights, or dreams replaying the moment again and again. Your appetite changes. Time feels distorted. You disconnect from reality because reality feels too heavy to hold. Underneath all of this is a question that is rarely spoken out loud. If they were not who I thought they were, then who am I? Because betrayal isn't only about the other person, it becomes about you, your story, the way you understood love, safety, and connection. The identity you had in that relationship breaks quietly. You don't shatter outwardly, you collapse inward. This is the beginning of betrayal trauma. The moment your heart tries to understand a world that no longer makes sense. The moment where trust becomes memory and survival becomes instinct. The place where the journey begins, not toward forgetting, but toward understanding what happened to you and what it changed inside you. To understand betrayal trauma, you have to understand attachment. Not the romantic idea, not the poetic concept of love, but something older and deeper, something built into the architecture of the human mind. Humans didn't evolve to bond for pleasure, comfort, or convenience. We bond for survival. From the first moments of life, the brain scans for safety in another person. A caregiver becomes the source of protection. A familiar face becomes a signal of security. A voice becomes the feeling of being held. This is attachment, and it doesn't disappear as we grow. It simply changes form. As adults, partners become the new safe place. Friends become emotional lifelines. A family member becomes the stable ground we stand on. The people we choose emotionally are the people the brain assigns to our survival system. That is why betrayal is not just emotional pain, it is the loss of psychological safety. A stranger's cruelty hurts, but it doesn't rewrite your entire world. When pain comes from someone you trusted, someone you let close, someone whose love you depended on, the brain reacts like a threat is inside the home. There is no distance from it. The danger exists where comfort used to be. The mind asks a question that has no easy answer. How do I protect myself from the person I love? This is the collapse at the center of betrayal trauma. An attachment does not turn off like a switch. You cannot simply stop caring because someone hurt you. Part of you still reaches for the person who caused the pain, not because you are weak, but because your survival instincts are still attached to them. People often misunderstand this. They think you should walk away instantly, without hesitation. They don't realize that your brain is trying to choose between emotional reality and emotional survival. One part of you runs toward the person, hoping for safety. Another part runs away, trying to prevent the pain from happening again. For some, betrayal doesn't start in the relationship where it happened. It reaches deeper into older wounds formed in childhood. Someone who grew up with unpredictable love or conditional affection often learns that pain and love come in the same package. If love hurt you before, your brain may confuse betrayal with normalcy. Not because you want to suffer, but because emotional chaos feels familiar. This is why betrayal trauma can wake up older pain. The betrayal you experience today echoes the patterns you learned yesterday. The silence, the fear, the uncertainty, the longing for approval, the belief that love must be earned. So when people ask why you didn't leave sooner, why you stayed, why it hurts so deeply, they don't understand that you're not only grieving the betrayal, you're grieving the loss of safety within yourself. This stage of trauma is the mind trying to rebuild logic. You replay events not to obsess, but to reorganize reality. The brain is searching for a new foundation, even after the old one has fallen. When the first shock of betrayal fades, the trauma doesn't disappear. It changes shape. It becomes a story inside the mind, a quiet echo that influences how you think, feel, and connect with others. The event is gone, but its consequences continue in the way you interpret your world. One of the first consequences is the collapse of trust. Not the surface-level trust you express in words, but the deep internal trust that lives in your nervous system. Your body remembers that a smile can hide intentions, that a promise can be broken without warning, that love can transform into pain without any sign. You start to watch people more closely. You analyze tone, behavior, and small details that others ignore. You question warmth even when it is genuine. This isn't paranoia, it is protection. It is your mind trying to ensure that what happened before never happens again. Ironically, this instinct to protect can become the very barrier that keeps you from forming new connections. The brain treats emotional closeness as danger, not comfort. What was once a source of safety now feels like a possible threat. It is a survival strategy that makes relationships harder. The second consequence is the impact on identity. Betrayal doesn't just change how you see others, it changes how you see yourself. You begin to doubt your perception. You ask yourself why you didn't notice the signs. You replay moments hoping to find clues you missed. You try to rewrite history in a way that makes you feel aware and in control, because accepting that you didn't see it coming feels like losing trust in your own intuition. The painful truth is that some things are invisible until after the damage is done. Realizing this weakens your belief in your own judgment. When you stop trusting others, you also stop trusting yourself. The third consequence is the wound to self-worth. Even though the betrayal is not your fault, the mind often turns the pain inward. You begin to believe that if you were enough, the betrayal wouldn't have happened. If you were lovable, they would have stayed loyal. If you mattered, the pain wouldn't exist. These thoughts are not based on truth. They are based on survival. Blaming yourself feels safer than accepting the reality that someone chose to hurt you. So you shrink, you quiet your needs, you settle for less. You hesitate to believe you deserve love without pain. Yet within the pain, there is something else developing. Over time, some people emerge from betrayal with sharper intuition. They become more aware of unhealthy patterns. They learn stronger boundaries. They value honesty more deeply because they know how it feels when it disappears. The wound becomes wisdom. The pain becomes perspective. Healing does not erase what happened. It transforms it. Once you understand how betrayal affected your trust, your identity, and your self-worth, you begin to see the path toward rebuilding. A path not back to who you were, but forward to who you are becoming. Healing from betrayal trauma is not about erasing the past. It is about learning to live with it without letting it define who you are. When the initial shock fades and the confusion begins to settle, you are left with a truth that both hurts and frees you. The betrayal happened, it was real, and you survived it. Healing begins with acceptance. Not forgiveness, not forgetting, but the courage to say, this broke something in me, and I am choosing to rebuild. Acceptance allows you to face the truth without letting it control you. The first step in rebuilding is reclaiming your identity. Trauma creates a version of you built on fear. The cautious one, the quiet one, the one that expects danger behind every smile. That version is not the final version of yourself. Healing asks you to consider, who are you without the betrayal? It invites you to sort through the fragments of your story. Some beliefs and fears were never yours. Some came from the person who hurt you. Healing is about choosing what to keep and what to release. Rebuilding also requires reclaiming self-trust. Trust does not begin with others, it begins with you. It begins by listening to your intuition, honoring your boundaries, and believing in your emotional signals. You learn to trust the voice inside that was silenced by betrayal. Support becomes a tool in this process. Therapy, journaling, mindfulness, and trauma-informed guidance are not about someone else fixing you. They are tools to help you find the answers within yourself. Healing does not require pretending the pain did not happen. It requires feeling it, understanding it, and giving it words so it no longer controls you from the shadows. As time passes, something shifts. You realize the betrayal is still part of your story, but it is no longer the whole story. You remember the pain without letting it define your worth. You think of the person who hurt you, and your chest remains steady. The scar may remain, but the wound has closed. You understand that betrayal did not destroy you. It revealed you. It showed you what you need, what you deserve, and how strong you can be in the face of love that breaks. Healing does not promise a life without pain. It promises a life where pain no longer steals your identity. And when you step into this new version of yourself, you see clearly that what broke you also built you. Not because the betrayal was justified, but because you chose to rise. This is the transformation that follows betrayal. Not at the moment you were hurt, but at the moment you decided to heal and take back your life.